Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. I missed you so much. Today we're going to be doing a wrap up of all the books I read in February. It is the end of the month. It's February 28th. We finally made it. I wanted to walk you guys through all the books I read. I read about 9, I think. I have stats pulled up for this. I read 9 books. 3 books which I got 50% through and stopped reading for some reason. None of them were 5 stars, and it was a pretty awful reading month. This month was full of bad romances, Kindle Unlimited books I shouldn't have picked up, and one fantasy. Oh, also look at my Mariah the Scientist tee. Look how freaking cute. I'm literally obsessed with it. It's so pretty. So I started the month off with A Not So Meet Cute by Meghan Quinn. This book I rated 2 stars, and my rating was this was not good. That's it. It was not good. The book basically follows Lottie and, what's his name? Huxley. I freaking hate his name. I know it's such a small thing, but I have no idea why his name is Huxley. Like, absolutely no idea. But this book follows Lottie and Huxley. Lottie is broke. She just got fired from her job. So she's walking around a rich neighborhood, just looking for a husband. She's like, oh, I'm gonna find a millionaire just to marry. Huxley is trying to close a business deal. He runs into the person that he's doing business with and lies about having a wife and a baby on the way. Huxley is walking through his neighborhood, just to blow off some steam. They meet. And it kind of goes from there. The story started off so good. It was like funny and it was bantery, and I loved the premise. The premise was so freaking like just cute. Like, I loved it. And about 20% into the book, it stopped being as cute. It's a marriage of convenience billionaire romance, and throughout the story we kind of just watch them. They move in together, but on the first night it just turns so lusty, and I got so confused. And they were doing things with the like business partner, just coupley things to make it look like they were like in love. But it was the weirdest activities that they had on. Like, they were going to birthing classes, but it was like, don't read this. And it had drawings, and the drawings were not at all what it was supposed to be. Like, these were like what was in it, and I was just like, that's not what he looks like, and that's not what she looks like. And this book was 2 stars. It was not very good. So I'm so stupid. Like, I have no idea why I did this. Following that book, I picked up another Kindle Unlimited book, which was Sweet Heartbreak by Alexandra Moody. This book I read on Kindle. It's basically following this girl who is in her senior year. She's working at a diner. She just broke up with her boyfriend. She had gotten cheated on by her boyfriend and her best friend. So she finds out she has this like rich father, and she gets shipped off to this school. The writing was so bad. It was very bad. The father.
Your father? I mean,
What's that? What's a father?
What's that? What's a father? Dad, I thought there was gonna be like this like cute like father-daughter bond that they would have, but like we don't see him. We never see him. She meets this like popular guy who's like the biggest guy in school, whatever, and then like they immediately kind of start something up. And I kind of enjoyed it. Until I kind of sat back and I was like, this wasn't very good. The ending was the worst thing about this book, I think. The ending was a random conflict about family feuds that just had nothing to do in it, and I think it was trying to lead on to the next book and like leave a cliffhanger, but it really just left me hanging. You know, like, I was done. So I exited from this book. I rated this book another 2 stars, and my review is the rating, the plot, just no. Because no, like, this was YA, but make it horrible. Following that, I decided to read another Kindle Unlimited romance. This one I picked up was Consider Me by Becca Mack. This is one of the books that I've seen so many times and I never picked up. I thought it would be super lusty and not much plot. I was thoroughly proven wrong. This book follows Carter, which is a hockey player, and Kara. Their friends are friends and they meet each other, and then I think they have like a one-night stand after like she's resisting him or whatever. And then she's like, oh, like, I never want to see you again. And he's like fighting for her. The thing about this was that the second time he ever saw her, he was like, oh, like, I'm fighting her. Like, I want this girl back so bad. Like, I would do anything for her. And They haven't even like talked. Like they don't even know each other. They're just like he's just talking. I'm like, what? And he's like, he loved her so quick. And he was like, she's great. I would do anything for her. I'm so obsessed with her. She's the love of my life. And I was like, you don't, what's her last name? What's her last name? I also loved many things about this book though. Clare was a teacher, so I loved that aspect. Her students were super funny. I love the friends in the book, and I really liked the found family thing. I don't plan on continuing the series, but I did enjoy it. I rated this book 3.75 stars. So it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I think it was just like a book like I enjoyed. I would recommend it. Following that, I read yet another hockey romance. I have no idea why I just started to go on these random like bouts of hockey romances, but I did. I read The Deal, which is the off-campus series by Elle Kennedy. This is one of the book talk series that honestly have not gotten talked about enough. Garrett needs to be tutored for a class that he's failing in order to continue playing on the hockey team. Hannah is trying to get her crush's attention, and she's using Garrett as a way to make him jealous. So they kind of like come up with this like fake dating plan, but it's like a fake dating tutoring hockey romance, and I really loved that combination with these characters. Like I really enjoyed it. You could just tell that all these tropes that have been getting used constantly, this was one of the earlier books that set the trope. Like this was like the trailblazer. I loved their characters. Garrett was so freaking sweet and golden retriever-y and like the perfect combination of everything, and Hannah was just really relatable. After that, I read the next book in the series, which is The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. This book follows another one of the teammates, which is Logan and Grace. Logan is trying to get over a girl that he's kind of stuck up on, and one day he's just really frustrated. He needs to get out of the house. He goes to a dorm party, but he ends up at the wrong room. He knocks on the door, and in comes Grace. Grace is just the girl on a random door that he knocked, and it kind of goes on from there. This story was very short, and I just felt like nothing happened. Like it was almost like unnecessary of a book, kind of just to tie up Logan's ends. We also spend most of the book with them in different places. Like half of the book is Logan in one continent and her in the other. And when I say half the book, I mean like 150 pages. But this book was like not even 300 pages, like maybe 200. The 100 pages was a pretty big chunk of it. I loved the premise. I loved the cute little meeting of like knocking on the door and seeing just like this random door that they happened to stumble upon, and they're really cute. It was just okay. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. Then I started filming a reading vlog, and I took a break from my hockey romances to read City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This book is a part of the Mortal Instruments, which is a part of the Shadowhunters universe. Cassandra Clare wrote a universe about fighters against demons, and they're have their own series that all take place in different timelines and places. One's in New York, one's in London, one's in 1983, one's in like 2000, and we kind of just get to see Shadowhunters around the world. This is the Mortal Instruments series. There's many reading orders. I know a lot of different ways to start. I decided to start from the very beginning. This book, I think you read 3 of these books, then you read 3 of the Infernal Devices, then you go back to the other 3 of these books, then you go to another series, and then another series, and then the last series. So it's a big thing, but I did want to start it. I love fantasy series that go on like years. I just love the found family. Like the best found family is found in books with 10 plus characters, like Pete, in series with 10 plus books. I rated this book 4 stars. It was a very good introduction to fantasy. We're following Clare in New York. She witnesses a murder in a club and nobody else is around to see it. She discovers that the people she saw were all invisible. Then her mom gets taken, and these people that she discovered take her in, and they kind of go on a journey to discover all these secrets that her mom hid from her in this universe that she didn't even know existed, and the Shadowhunters. I'm really liking the world. Like, I like the way the world is set up. I like the characters we have. There is a little incest in this book, and they told me. They warned me. I didn't listen. The incest was there. I knew it would be there. I read it. I was like, what is going on? You kissed your sister? But I did really enjoy this. Also in that reading vlog, I read Firefly by Kristin. This was one of the literary fictions I picked up. This is the first one I picked up this year, and I can confidently say I loved this book. This book follows Tully and Kate. Tully is like the eccentric best friend, I guess, and she has big dreams. And Kate also has dreams, but it's kind of like Joe and Meg from Little Women. Tully's dreams are to go out and to make something of her life, to leave the traditional I want to be a mother and have kids and a home and a family behind, while Kate's dreams are kind of that she wants to have a family and she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and that's what she wants for her life. They meet in 8th grade. Tully moves in across the street from her and they are next door neighbors, and they become best friends that year, and then we just get to see their life from 8th grade up until their 40s and their 50s. It starts in the 8th grade. It starts in the 70s, and we get to see the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and it's just super like a time frame book. I love time period books. They make my heart so happy. Just seeing like the puffed up hair and shoulder pads and the boombox. And I never even knew that I needed to read this book. It wasn't like tropes that I was like looking for, like I'm in the mood for fake dating, I'm in the mood for this. It was like I needed to read it. And Kristin Hannah is an author, has been talked about so much recently. I wanted to pick up one of her books, and I can sufficiently say Firefly Lion Girls have my heart. I love them so much. I love this freaking book, and you get to see just like so much justice done to women's life and womanhood. There's just so much justice to what it is to be a woman in this book. This book does have some trigger warnings. I would search it up. This is like a sad book. If you kind of want to cry, I would read this book. And there's so many ups and downs and there's so many emotions going on. But at the end, it's like so sad. And I like don't cry at books, but this was like, it was just a very sad ending, but it was like perfect. And it made my heart so happy. I gave it a 4.25 star, my whole heart. In these pages, I loved it. After that book, I was kind of lost on what I should read, so I went back to my hockey romances. I read the 3rd book in the off-campus series, which is The Score. This book follows Dean and Allie. So this is Hannah from the first book's best friend, and Dean, which is one of the teammates on the hockey team. They kind of have just like a random night together. They end up getting drunk together, and then after that, it's kind of her rejecting him and him never having been rejected before. So when Allie's like, oh, I don't want you, get away from me, he's like, oh no, like I need you. And then over time they like fall in love. And Dean, he shifted so much. Like it wasn't even like it was like randomly he stopped acting like himself. It's like you kind of just got to like see, you had like this like persona up and he just opened it. And over time I was like, wait, he's so much better than I thought he would be. Their relationship was like my second favorite in this entire series. Like it just wasn't like catty, and they didn't have like random conflicts, and they communicated and they just worked, and they were the sweetest. Dean was the sweetest. Like he was not a character I expected to love in this series. There's like this element of it where he's has to teach these kids on a hockey team, and it's like so freaking cute. Like I can't even. The ending I was okay with. The 3rd act conflict, I feel like sometimes 3rd act conflicts can just be like random. Like why did we add this in here? But this 3rd act conflict made sense, and it worked itself out really well. And I thought this book was just really well done. And I gave this book a 4.25 stars. Lastly, I read the last book in the off-campus series, which is The Goal. This book was an unexpected pregnancy romance. This book followed Tucker, which was the last hockey player in their like friend group that I was so excited for. I was like, he's a ginger. I feel like he's just gonna be like the quiet, mysterious, shy type. But I felt like this book let me down. Sabrina, I liked her, I guess, but she spent the entire book, and when I say entire book, like I mean the ending was basically her finally deciding, okay, we can be together. The entire book, like she had some excuse as for why they couldn't be together, and when they finally could be together, I didn't really care for it. So in between these books, I had also been slowly getting through The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This book I have gotten 230 pages into, and there are 380 pages. So I'm almost done with this book. Truth be told, I didn't DNF it and I was enjoying it. I just forgot I was reading it. Like I completely forgot I was reading this book, and I put it on my nightstand, and this is the first time I'm picking it up. This book is about Lenora and Kit. So Kit moves into this home, and she's in charge of taking care of 80-year-old Lenora Hope, who is a part of the Hope family who experienced like a series of massacres where the rest of the family all died years ago, and now she's the only one living there and the only one who's left. So it's this house like on the top of a cliff, and she moves in to take care of Lenora. And over the time, I guess Lenora decides that she wants to tell her all her secrets and tell her if she was really the one who committed these murders, as everyone thinks. Typewriter that she uses to type the entire story. But as she is typing her story, we're finding out little things that's kind of making get nervous, and she set herself on the mission of figuring out what's going on. Currently, that's where I'm in the middle of. This book I'm enjoying. I'm still in the process of enjoying it because I haven't finished it, but I do think I will pick it up. I did read this a majority of the month, so I wanted to include it in my wrap up because I have been reading it. Another book I picked up this month was The Legacy, which was an off-campus novella series of all of the novellas for all the couples. This book I got 50% through. I just kind of realized midway that I didn't care for it, and I was kind of just pushing myself through a book I had no interest in. I like these characters for their books and kind of just for their story, but I had no interest of knowing what happened with their kids and their marriage and their proposals and stuff like that. So I kind of just put that book down. Last but not least, I've spent the last week reading The Zodiac Academy. This book I picked up just kind of as a palate cleanser. I have been loving this book so freaking much. It's crazy. I didn't expect to. It's like kind of like YA. It's like vampires, and it's not like beautifully written or like super artistic, but I am really enjoying it. But I think I'm gonna do a reading vlog for this series, and I've spent a good chunk of my month reading this. Okay guys, those are all the books that I read this February. I think this year I think this month was a good mix of really bad books and pretty good books. I'm hoping to still find a 5-star, but none of these books were it, but I did enjoy some of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for hanging with me while I talk to you all about my books, and I hope you have a great day, and I love you so much. Bye.